Welcome back. Now that you have identified your goals and started an action plan, you'll need to organize your day-to-day priorities. In this topic, you'll learn how to prioritize your time so that you can avoid procrastination and feel less stress. You'll also find that you'll have more time for fun activities when you follow the steps in this topic. Let's imagine that you're packing your suitcase for a trip. You can only bring items that will fit in one bag. What should you pack first? Well, you'll want to start with the most important items. We're going to call these the essential priorities. On a trip, this would probably be your toothbrush, basic clothes, a pair of shoes, etc. After you've packed your essential priority items, you'll want to include items from your secondary priorities. These are the things that you would like to have on your trip. They aren't quite essential, but they are important. If you're going someplace warm, maybe this would include items such as a bathing suit, sunglasses, and a hat. Of course, the secondary priorities you choose might be different from somebody else's. Once you've finished packing the items you know you're going to need and want, you would throw in the items that you may or may not use. These items are from your luxury priorities category. These are the things like an extra pair of pants or shoes you might wear but don't necessarily need, but you could include them if you have the room. Now we're going to apply the idea of packing your suitcase with the 3 levels of importance to your academic life. Just as you need to choose which items in your suitcase are the most important items for your trip, you will need to determine which activities in your life are the most important for your success. We'll start with the essential priorities. These are the things you absolutely must do. For example, they might include things like sleeping, eating, going to school, completing homework, and doing chores. Keep in mind that your priorities would not necessarily be the same as someone else's. We'll start with the essential priorities. These are the things that you absolutely must do. Some examples might include sleeping, eating, going to school, completing homework, and doing chores. Next are the secondary priorities. These generally are the extracurricular activities that you enjoy. They don't necessarily have the consequences of the first category if they're not completed, but you would prefer to make time for them when possible. Some people would include going to a sports practice and games, practicing an instrument, having a part-time job, and spending time with friends as their secondary priorities. Finally, there are the luxury priorities. Like extra space in your suitcase, they are for the extra time in your day. These would include activities that you enjoy but are less significant to your life as a whole. Some examples might include watching TV, spending time on social media, and playing video games. Successful students decide which activities are the most important and focus on those tasks first. The reality is that there are only 24 hours in the day. Prioritizing and scheduling your time also prevents you from procrastinating. Without prioritizing, inefficient students find themselves rushing to complete an assignment the night before it's due, or cramming for a major test late into the evening. Efficient students prioritize and schedule their time to avoid this problem. Then, with the essential items out of the way, they can enjoy their secondary and luxury activities with less stress and pressure. This is true for adults as well. For the activity in this lesson, you're going to complete your own priorities chart. This is an example of a completed priorities chart. Again, each person's priorities chart should be different because each person prioritizes different activities. For this student, the essential activities include going to class, studying, completing homework, eating, and sleeping. This student enjoys playing soccer, takes violin lessons, and has a Sunday weekly family dinner. This student considers them to be secondary activities because they involve a commitment to other people but carry less of a consequence if they are not able to do them. Finally, this example student's luxury activities include watching TV and playing video games. Again, keep in mind, each person will have their own priorities chart to match their own priorities. When you have finished with your own priorities chart, you will have completed this topic. By now, you have learned that you should always consider your priorities before you start to schedule your time, and each of your activities should be identified by their category of priority level as essential, secondary, or luxury. Now it's your turn to think about the priorities in your life. In your personal study plan file or attached to this topic, you will find a priorities chart. Take a few minutes to think about your daily activities and decide which category of priorities each of those activities falls into. Complete this exercise by sorting the activities in your life into the appropriate category. You can use some of our examples, but make it as personal as you can so that it will be most helpful to you later on.